On December 30th, our family crowded my parents' dining room for the annual New Year's Eve dinner we always held a day early. 20 relatives, too many glasses, too much performance. My father, Ray, had been drinking since afternoon, and by dessert he was brave in the way drunks get, loud, sentimental, cruel. He stood and clinked a spoon on his glass. "Here's to the new year," he said, swaying. Then he looked straight at me. "Mara, when are you finally going to buy a lake house like Sloan, or are you going to rent forever?" Laughter burst around the table. My sister sat back in her cashmere like a queen accepting tribute. I set my glass down. The stem didn't even tap. My throat tightened anyway. I'd spent my whole life learning to let jokes pass through me like weather. "Actually," I said, keeping my voice calm, "she doesn't own that house the way you think she does." The room went dead. Ray froze mid-sip. Sloane's smile collapsed. Color drained from her face. Even the old clock in the hall sounded too loud. That silence wasn't new. I'd grown up in it on the east side of Columbia. Sloane glowing, Ray applauding, my mother Linda smoothing things over, and me standing beside the table like extra furniture. If I earned straight A's, it was good, that's your job. If Sloane brought home average grades, it was leadership and a cookout. By the time I was 10, I stopped asking why. By 14, I stopped wanting. Silence became armor, heavy, dependable, invisible, and sitting there, with 20 sets of eyes waiting for me to either apologize or explain, I realized I'd finally brought my armor to a place it could cut. I kept my eyes on my father's shaking hand and let the silence do what it never did for me. Make everyone listen. Then I slid my chair back. "Give me a minute." I walked into the hallway, past the framed school photos, and breathed like I'd been holding my lungs shut for years. I'd built this moment the way I built everything, quietly. After high school, Sloane went to Clemson with my parents, covering whatever her scholarship didn't. I stayed local because it was nearly free if you chased every grant. I worked before dawn, after class, and all weekend, then transferred to Charlotte and graduated into the chaos of 2020 with a computer science degree and a small, stubborn loan. Remote hiring hit like a gold rush. I took an engineering job tied to Austin and learned, fast, how much silence could be worth. When Ray asked what I made, I lied low. I kept the cramped studio, the wheezing Corolla, the same rotation of hoodies. It wasn't virtue, it was armor with pockets. In late 2020, a Lake Murray listing began haunting my saved searches. A modern waterfront place with glass-facing sunset and a dock on a protected cove. The seller cut the price hard. I moved before the market could wake up. I bought it through my grandmother's trust. My name nowhere anyone in my family would ever look. I renovated, hired a property manager, Delia Park, who thought she served an anonymous client. For 2 years, the lease checks arrived and the secret held. Then, one July morning, Delia forwarded a new application. Sloane, backed by Camille Mercer's money, requesting my house. I typed one word, approved, and started waiting patiently. I walked back into the dining room with my phone unlocked and my pulse steady. Ray's glass hovered near his mouth. Sloane watched me the way you watch a match you're sure won't catch. I held the screen out over the tablecloth. Lease, Delia's portal. The owner line, Margaret Hale, Irrevocable Trust, 2021. Tenant, Sloane Hale, balance due, red and ugly. "This is the lake house," I said. "Mine. I bought it in 2021 and kept it in my grandmother's trust. You applied to rent it in 2023. I approved you." I turned the phone so every aunt, every cousin, every golf buddy could read the months of late notices. "You're 4 months behind. 48,400. The air collapsed. Ray's face drained from flushed to ash. Sloane's lips parted like she'd forgotten how to breathe. "You let everyone think," she began, voice breaking. "I let you talk," I said. "I stayed quiet the way you trained me." Ray slammed his palm on the table. "You did this to humiliate us." "Yes," I said, surprised by how clean it sounded. "I waited for the stage you always gave her." The next morning I told Delia to send the notice to quit and file if the balance wasn't paid. No payment came. 30 days later, the locks changed. In spring, we sold the house into a hot market and the trust cleared enough profit to buy my life back. I changed my number. I moved to Austin. My Corolla stayed. My silence didn't. I exhaled for the first time ever and nothing followed me.